I feel like Lauren will be good at that.
Thanks, Shannon.
Of course. Okay, perfect. Okay, I can do this, I think.
You can definitely do this.
Thank you so much. Something about the no pants of it all is a little more stressful, believe it or not.
Sentence I never thought I'd hear you say on camera.
I know, me either. This is OnlyFans. Okay, just kidding. Okay, hi guys. My name's Shannon Beveridge. I'm the host of Exes Ohs, a podcast where we talk about queer relationships and sex. And today, I have a very special episode brought to you by tomboyx. That is why we are in underwear, and I'm also so excited for my guest, Lauren Chan. Thank you for coming and being in my tomboyx / Exes Ohs episode.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for making me leave my pants at the door.
I don't want to take the blame on that one. I think we should blame tomboyx for that.
All right.
It's like you walked in and I'm like, take your pants off.
Imagine. Let's start that rumor.
No. Okay, so we can edit this, right? When do you feel like hottest?
Oh, that's such a... See, I'm at a point in my life where I'm almost 35. I've built a career on body image and representation for folks who have been left out and mental health. And so that's a very deep question to me, really.
Too deep?
No. I appreciate the depth of it. I think when I haven't been online, when I'm not constantly perceiving myself how others perceive me. So that's a lot of my work as a model. And I think when I'm with my partner and when I'm comfortable, I guess that all boils down to comfort.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I think that's a great answer. Because I also think comfort doesn't necessarily align with like a certain style. Because I feel like a lot of people get asked that question. They're like, when I'm going out or when I'm like all dressed down or whatever it is. But like comfort is kind of more of a state of mind rather than what you're looking like, right?
Yeah.
So that's like hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're in your 30s too, yes?
Yeah, I'm 32.
So I feel like there was a time in my life where maybe, like you said, going out, like adventurous might have made me feel the sexiest or the hottest.
Hottest.
Oh, we're inventing
Hottest of the hot.
But yeah, now it's not. It's comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's so fair. I love the thing about also like not being online. Like when you're not being perceived by other people and thinking how people are perceiving you, because then your hotness is your own again. I think that's the internet in general, whether you're an influencer or you're just a normal person online. I think it's really easy to like give your self-worth away to other people instead of like owning it for yourself.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, talk about deep.
Hey. Yeah.
When I was in Sports Illustrated in 2023, that kind of shocked my image of myself, my body image specifically, because I came out in the issue. I was the first lesbian rookie. And even after having had a decade where I was working on myself and on size inclusion professionally, it really kind of stripped my confidence away. And so I had to build that back up. And the way that I built it back up was to get comfortable with myself, no matter what anybody else thinks.
Yeah. But that's a couple things. Isn't it wild that even in 2023, there's still queer people doing the first?
Yeah.
Like in 2025, there's still someone who's like the first trans woman on Broadway. I'm like
to win a Golden Globe.
But it's just happening now. Like,
Yeah.
and we still have so many things that someone will get to be the first one to do. I was thinking about it the other day. I read some headline. It was like the first, and I was like, we haven't gotten in there yet.
There are so many firsts.
Yeah, it's awesome, and congrats.
Oh,
and
thanks.
No first should like outweigh another. So it's like that's awesome for you, and you'll always get to be that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Anyway, so coming out is so scary, I think, in general. Do you guys agree? I feel like it's so scary. But to do it in such a public way adds its own whole other ballgame that so many people don't have to experience. I obviously understand because I kind of did that at the same time too. Like
talk about it first.
Yeah. Well, no.
I mean, I feel like you were so early, and we were, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the first people on YouTube to really gain influence and be that for so many people watching.
I was one of the first.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is crazy to think about now. I think too, like, but I think for me, and the difference between me and you is it didn't feel so brave when I was doing it because I didn't do it to millions of people. Like I gathered these people together, found them, and they found me at the same time, rather than like coming out in Sports Illustrated. You are coming out guaranteed to a huge audience of people. Not all the ones there are like there for you. So you knew for sure when you did it that you were going to get backlash potentially.
I think that gave me purpose though. You know, I think that gave me a motivation to continue what I had previously done in my career of breaking boundaries of representation.
Totally.
And so it gave me a motivation outside of myself, and that in an odd way helped me through it.
Yeah.
I actually am more fearful of the ways in which, and I would love your take on this too, I have to come out on the daily.
Yeah.
In person
All
to
the
people
time.
who I don't know if it's safe for me or it will behoove me in a work situation or what have you. You know, I am still nervous about that a lot of the time. I still have internalized homophobia that I project into my interactions with other people.
Yep.
And that's harder for me personally.
Yeah, the daily coming out is harder than the Sports Illustrated coming out.
I know, who'd have thought?
Not me.
Do you
but,
still ever have to come out, or do you feel like you're so well known that it's kind of...
Well, no, I'm definitely walking around and most people don't know me. Like, I know lesbians know me and like some queer people know me, but I'm in many spaces where I'm unknown, but I do feel pretty gay looking. Like, at this point, I
You're
feel
pretty
like
gay looking.
I'm giving like a gay energy where I don't feel as much like I need to do that. But when I first came out, I was much more like femme, like still had like long hair and I was like curling it, you know? I think that alone was giving.
How ridiculous.
I was doing
You
my
said
hair.
that in a way that was like, can you believe it?
Yeah, I was curling my hair back then. So, no, I know the experience of having to come out. And I've also dated women who are all people who constantly have to come out and are also assumed straight beforehand. So I've seen that struggle firsthand. And it's like really, I think it's just more, it's not like, I think it's like deeply uncomfortable. And you're spending every day potentially having an uncomfortable experience. And the internalized homophobia, like I know, I guess in like the grand scheme of your life, you only recently came out, but I don't think that ever goes away. Like, I think some of that is deeply ingrained, not just in your relationship to yourself, but like society's relationship to queerness in general. Like, I think it's really, really rare to find someone and meet someone who has processed all their internalized homophobia.
Wait, there's one more thing I want to say about body image, actually. It was a lesson I learned in my sophomore year of Sports Illustrated swimsuit, which was that I went into that job and I wasn't thinking about how images could be taken of me in a way in which I appeared smaller and I appeared to conform more to the, you know, beauty standard that exists. And I reminded myself that art can be made of bigger bodies, and because they look the way that they look doesn't mean that it's less attractive. And so I went through that shoot in a way that, you know, posed to accentuate my hip or my belly roll, and those are my favorite images in the end. And that's something I talked about on the internet, and it got the most beautiful reaction. And that was my favorite part of my second go round, where I learned from the first time and really decided to make something that hopefully represented a wider breadth of people, and that was also very personally healing to me.
Yeah.
You know, I got to shoot with Yusai, who was the photographer on much of America's Next Top Model, which
Smize.
yeah, you know, but that beauty standard hurt a lot of young women. And so in that moment, I really tried to reclaim that, and in the end, they're like my favorite images ever.
That's so cool. It's cool that you did it 2 times in 2 different ways.
Yeah. The
with a
second
different
round,
goal.
my agent told me he could tell I was having sex. Yeah.
And that's a great thing.
They were better.
Yeah. We love when people are having sex. This is good. X's and O's. Should we talk about sex? Are you having enough sex?
Are you having enough sex?
Fuck no. Absolutely. I'm going through a breakup. Definitely not. No.
Some people have a lot of sex when they're going through breakups.
Oh my God. No. I've learned I can't do casual sex.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm having enough sex. I'm having great sex. I had never had an orgasm having sex with a man. So now I understand what all you people are talking about
Oh
when
my
you're
God.
writing songs about sex and making movies about it.
I had that feeling just from kissing men. I was like, what? We don't like what you guys like this? I didn't even have to go and have sex, but that's wild that you went all the way thinking that that was
I know.
right. Like
You
that's all
know,
you should feel.
I thought that I was just broken. I just thought there was something wrong with me.
That makes me so sad. And it
Yeah.
is sad too because there are straight women who feel that way
I'm sure.
and their husband's just bad in bed. But we don't have to talk about that. Do you think culturally we're having enough sex?
This is a hot take. Culturally, I don't think we're having enough sex in the way women deserve to have sex. And with that, I'm going to not drop this expensive mic, but proverbial mic drop. That's a hot take. Culturally, I feel like sex is portrayed and probably in a lot of ways acted out in a way that completely stomps on women's desire, on their physiological makeup and needs. This is from, my own experience, from speaking to my community, from watching how we talk about sex in culture. Compulsory, let's say it together.
Compulsory
heterosexuality.
I was going to say heteronormativity.
Oh, yeah. Okay, one more time.
Compulsory heteronormativity. Compet.
Compet is the idea that our society is set up in a way to encourage and only encourage heteronormativity. And so the institution of marriage, taxes, movies, family dynamics, what have you, is all set up for being hetero so that if you are not, you have to surmount this huge hill and fight against all of that to live your life.
I think women fall victim of it more.
Well, because we live in a patriarchy.
Exactly.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I heard you listening to a clip from my podcast episode, and the person said that being a bottom means you're greedy, and I heard you just say, "What? No." So what do you think?
Stop the tapes. I did not say it like that.
Sounded like you said it like that.
I just think maybe that's misrepresentation for bottoms.
Okay. What do you think makes a good bottom?
I don't know that I know what makes a good bottom, but I feel like a lot of bottoms, this is fully a projection, are people who make a lot of decisions in their life and like border on sub because they don't want to make decisions in the bedroom.
Okay.
I guess what makes a good bottom, I don't know. I don't have sex with bottoms. You maybe can tell me that is like enthusiasm. What do you think makes a good bottom?
Yeah, no, I think that is a good thing. Enthusiasm, like, I think even in that episode, she said like easily excitable. Like, yeah. So enthusiasm. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know what makes someone good at anything. Like, I feel like that's.
Oh, we're totally diverting from the question here.
Just getting so existential.
What even is a bottom,
What is a bottom? No, I think enthusiasm. I think like willingness to like play around and stuff is also open-mindedness.
Yeah. Is it too much to ask you how you would identify sexually if you had to pick a label?
As like a bottom or top?
Yeah.
Or switch?
And I think there are things in between that too.
Yeah. I think probably earlier in my queerness, like kind of more switch. And as I've become more comfortable and confident in the bedroom, definitely more top.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I picked that up.
Yeah.
I myself am a power bottom.
I feel like I picked that up.
Thank you.
Okay. And how would you describe, what do you think a power bottom is?
I mean, I personally
definition.
feel like I take nothing lying down.
Okay.
So I have a strong personality and I'm bossy and I'm enthusiastic. And I think that there can be an association with like being super passive, but I don't feel that way.
Yeah. I feel like there's a misconception that a bottom is a pillow princess.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't love that term.
Pillow princess?
Yeah.
But some
people do.
want, but you don't want that.
We as in me. The royal we don't love pillow princess.
Okay, fair. You could have gone your whole life without really getting to experience this life. What do you think?
I could never be sitting here in my underwear with you. There's a parallel universe where this isn't happening.
Yeah. And that would be the
How
saddest.
sad.
That would be the saddest part about
glad
you
we
never
agree.
coming out. Is that you wouldn't be here with me right now. What was like the deciding factor for you? Like, what was the thing? What really like pushed you over the edge, and you're like, I have to do this.
At some point in my therapy journey, I started realizing that I was having feelings of lesbian desire and subconsciously started putting myself in more queer space, started consuming more queer media and building an association between my own identity and what I was experiencing. And it was a slow burn that just kept growing and growing and growing. And it just got to a point where it bubbled over. I remember thinking to myself, maybe in another life. And when I caught that thought go through my mind, I just started bawling because how sad is that? How sad is that for me? How sad is that and selfish is that for me to keep my ex-husband in a situation where I'm feeling that? And so it was a slow burn that really, it was like a small creek that turned into a waterfall.
That's so interesting. That like, it feels like that's like an aha moment too, to be like, maybe in another life. And think about how many people have thought that, and then that's the end of that thought for them. Especially once you're so cemented in your life, like if you have kids and you have, or you come from an area, like you're lucky enough to have like
There
queer.
are a lot of institutions in place to keep women where they are, how society wants them to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I would love to have someone on my podcast who married like a woman and went for a few years, and then
Sometimes
it's
it happens where both parties turn out to be
a lot of
queer.
times.
Yeah, because you see something in each other, you know?
100%. Two of the men I made out with in college are gay now, and I made out with three. Yeah, I made it through college.
Does that mean you're a gold star still?
Yeah, I'm a gold star. But I try to make it a point on my podcast to like not glorify that, or like on my platform in general.
Okay.
Just because I know I have so many people who follow me who did sleep with men, and I don't think it makes you any less gay, or like even if you're, it doesn't take anything away. And I think maybe I would be more inclined to be like, yeah, I'm a gold star, which I just did do that, by the way, but like more inclined to own it if it had a different name. Like a gold star
fair.
Feels like I accomplished something.
Yeah, that's fair.
When in reality, I just avoided doing something.
I'm literally thinking of it because I just saw a hat by that brand Praying on Essence that says it, and I was thinking of getting it for my girlfriend.
Okay.
So it's like in my brain.
It's still cute and it's good. I also think I have a deeper appreciation of not wanting to glorify gold stars because of my audience. Like, I think if I was just a gold star lesbian, like living my life, getting engaged, I'd be like, buy me that hat. Like, look, I didn't do it.
Yeah, Shannon Beveridge seen at Erewhon wearing gold star hat causes internet controversy.
I don't know. I feel like my audience probably wouldn't even give a fuck. I think most of my audience is like, shut up. But there's some of you I'm trying to take care of everyone, but it's impossible. That is an impossible task.
I can't imagine how that feels. Do you have practices in your life that you have to make sure that you're not acting in a people-pleasing way to masses of people that you don't actually even know?
So, Lauren, I'm people-pleasing in my daily life as well. So it's a bigger problem than just the internet. And I've also been trying to figure out, like, which came first? Like, I don't know if I've become more people-pleasing in real life over time because of this, like, all the time, like, incessant feeling, or if I also was good at doing social media and, like, becoming an influencer because I'm so deeply people-pleasing that, like, I was able to recognize what people did and didn't like about me and then try to do that over and over again. So I talk about that in therapy.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're far along the way. I have a hot take that I think that most people in the public eye are chameleons from like some type of trauma that made them people pleasing.
Well, I also think most people who are trying to be in this kind of industry, they have some kind of trauma that it's like, they're different. It's not necessarily always like a people-pleasing thing, right? Like if you grew up in a house and you never felt like your your feelings were validated, then maybe you become an influencer. So you get all these other people telling you that whatever. Or if you were like deeply insecure about something about you and then you go through puberty and that thing changed, then you want everyone else to be like, never have seen that. You know what I mean? Like it all comes from somewhere. I know very few people who do any of these jobs that just are like, yeah, I just like love to act. Like just really good at it. Just always was acting. Like it's like, you know, it feels like there's something deeper. But then again, I feel like what person doesn't have trauma?
I listened to Ryan Reynolds give a business talk last year, and the interviewer asked him, you know, where do you think this acting started? Why do you think you got good at this? Blah blah blah. And he said something to the effect of, um, when he was young, his dad was a problematic presence in the house. Again, paraphrasing, not my story,
Yeah.
but it did resonate with me. And it made him go into his own world and escape. And that is the muscle that turned into him being a great actor and a great mind. And that really, really resonated with me because it helped me understand myself and my own motivations. It helped me understand a lot of people in this business and their motivations and not take anything personally.
Yep.
In a way that I maybe was before.
One of my resolutions also for 2025 is to remember how much everyone else is going through at all times. And like, even if they're mean to me, and it extends further than like internet reactions to things, like people in real life, I'm like, oh my God, we're all going through so much, but it's so easy to take things and think it's specifically because of you.
Yeah.
Especially when you're getting, I think there's this like other thing where you are getting all this feedback online that I almost am like, oh, everyone's talking about me in real life too. Or like good, it doesn't even matter what the sentiment is, but it's just like people are thinking about me. And I'm like, no, they're fucking not. Like
They're thinking about themselves.
yeah, as they should. Please think about yourself. But watch my podcast.
How do you feel when you're on camera? Because also we have very different on camera lives, right? Like you're speaking a lot. And so you're speaking a lot about your personal life. I don't do that. I struggle with that a little. And I like look to people like you for inspiration on how to be authentic and impactful in that way.
Yeah, I don't know really because I am deeply uncomfortable getting my picture taken. I always have been. I think it got worse, ironically, when I started becoming a photographer because then I would go through someone else's shoot. And now when I'm getting my picture taken, I'm thinking about like, oh my God, that's going to be on their MacBook. It's going to be zoomed in to like the like thing I hate most about myself. And I can't detach myself as a photographer and a subject. So, but it was already bad before I got more into photography. But like being on camera part, I think I've just been doing it for so long. I don't think I was this comfortable at the very beginning. I think it was fully just motivated by loneliness and like needing some way to connect to people and seeing the opportunity that I could have by reaching more people at a time. Like when I started on Tumblr, which is a blog, and people were asking me the same question a bunch of times. And then that's when I was like, oh, I got a MacBook for Christmas. Like, I'm just going to open my MacBook, I'll make a video, and I'll just answer these questions I get asked all the time. And that was the first video. I didn't make another video for like months and months and months. And then, yeah, it's just like I think it's just like something a skill I've honed more now, but it took time. I had a motivation, like I had a purpose, and it wasn't just for attention. It was like for a bigger thing than myself. And yeah, and also like to survive. Like don't joke about it, but like I think I would have died if I hadn't made a Tumblr and like found community and like talked to people. Because I always knew, unlike you, I knew like little that I was gay. So I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Which also weirdly, I think made me less self-conscious about the way I look. I obviously also am blessed with good genes, but I didn't even have like any capacity to think so much about how people were seeing me because all I could think about is they will hate me if they know I'm gay. Oh. Like that was like so much bigger.
I thought you were going to say that there's a different beauty standard. And so that's why I was nodding. I mean, that's heartbreaking.
Well, yeah. And also, yeah, I was like getting away with, I wonder what would be different if like I was struggling with other things, but it was just so shadowed by this like other thing. I'm like, I don't care if you guys think I'm pretty or cool or whatever. I'm like, you're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me. So that was like a driving factor.
Well, now look.
I know.
Now you help
Hey.
people.
I know.
Really.
It is
And
crazy.
it's very purpose driven, and you like fillet yourself for everybody to, really
Thank you so much.
cut your heart open so that other people can,
Yeah, I didn't mean
not
to
get
be
to that
filleting
place.
so hard, but
You can always take a step back.
I can fillet a little less hard every once in a while for sure. For years, I was like, I feel like I could have a podcast, but I could never figure out what I wanted it to be. And then when it finally hit me, I was just like, this is perfect. This is like exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, and now it's about other people that you bring on, and that can always be more diversified, and I'm sure you will, and you'll keep at that mission if that's what's in your heart and that's what's on your list of
Yes.
goals.
That's my dream.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, I don't have to be it all. I can't.
You can't.
Yeah. You know what lesbian bed death is?
Yes.
Do you think you're... I can't ask it without...
Just ask it.
Like, do you think that that's something you could fall victim to?
Definitely. I think everybody can,
Yeah.
whether it's lesbian or not. I think that what I'm really grateful for in my relationship is that we are super connected. We're great partners. We create a queer life that really supports all of our needs. And so we don't have as much sex as we were in the beginning. It's not as like torrid and sexy and in hotel rooms and, with this toy and that toy. But with less of a cadence, it's more intimate.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And yeah, now and again, we have to have a conversation about, I really want to have sex with you soon.
Yeah. That's so fair.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of concepts that are meant to scare us away from lesbianism.
I agree.
I kind of think that's one of them because everybody has bed death in some respect. What do you think?
No, I agree completely. I think you're so right that it is like kind of something that scares people away. I feel like sex is like work and a language and like a muscle you have to like keep at, and it's not even in... I think we have this idea that straight couples are having sex, but it's like also the same idea of like thinking about, but is it good sex? So it's like if you're having good lesbian sex every 2 weeks, I feel like that's worth more than having bad straight sex twice a week every week,
Speaking from experience, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand how it happens. And I also think that women in general, we have a tendency to be avoidant and not so, or we've been taught to not even like really discuss our desires or like talk about sex in a way where we're like want it. Like it's like, and so if you're in a relationship, two women, and you both have that mentality about like what your sexuality when it comes to sex is supposed to be, I think it's easy for that muscle to atrophy. But I don't think it's an inevitability, right?
What do you think makes good lesbian sex?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I have a new take on this as well.
Oh, fresh off
Because
the press.
I think we have this idea that lesbian sex has to be forever long, because a lot of times at the beginning of a relationship with two women, sex is really long because it can last forever. And when you're excited and you're dating someone, sometimes it lasts forever. I think it also contributes to lesbian bed death because it starts to feel, you're like, okay, when we have sex, I have to give you 2 hours at least, when in reality, good lesbian sex can happen in 5 minutes. Like, good lesbian sex is not, I don't think, distinguished by the time, but I think sometimes we think that it is. I also don't even think good lesbian sex means both people come every time. I think that's also
That was big for me.
Yeah.
Because having sex with men is all about completion for the man, very rarely about completion for the woman. And so learning that lesbian sex can either be 6 hours or a weekend of sex, or some fooling around and nobody climaxes, and it's all considered sex, was really beautiful and healing to me. Like my girlfriend taught me that, because we would, have some moment of foreplay and I don't know, we would get stopped or something would happen, or we would just say, I want to get up and do this, but she would call it sex, and that was even though it seems so small, a reckoning for me because
Yeah.
it's a moment of sexual connection between you and your partner, and it is special.
Yeah. And it's good.
Yeah.
And that's good lesbian sex. It
Yes.
doesn't, I think that's a myth, is like every time girls make girls come. So, and that's also a lot of pressure, because a lot of women, whether you're having good sex or not, have issues with climaxing, and to have that pressure that like, oh, we're not leaving this bed till we're both done, like it's just not real.
Yeah.
So I think good lesbian sex is like any moment of connectivity with your partner, whether it's 1 second long or a year-long escapade, because it can be, I think.
I will say I come a lot, so
Well,
it's
good.
that's
I don't have that
I'm
issue
having good
either.
sex.
Does that
I
make
think to
sense?
me, good lesbian sex is really vulnerable. I had to unlearn how to stop performing
Oh,
this
gosh.
dance that I
Yeah.
thought sex was for women in straight relationships that I learned from porn.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite sex is not performative at all.
Yeah.
I would much prefer someone be like, I'm not going to come, or like, don't make any, like, if it doesn't feel good, don't make a sound, because I'm going to keep doing it. Like, yeah. And that's so
Yeah.
ingrained in some of us from porn.
Yeah,
From,
I think now, like with my partner, it's there's no wall between us in terms of vulnerability at all, and that to me is why we have such good sex.
fuck yeah. I'm so happy for you.
Thanks.
Jealous.
Hi, Haley.
One day that'll be me again. Yeah.
Also, lesbians are not sex machines in a way that they exist in culture as this pornographic fantasy for other people. We have lives, we have families, we have jobs.
Yeah. Hopefully.
We are probably having, I would bet, a little more sex than everyone else statistically. But it's not like it's all we do. And so when you build a life with someone, you're going to have other priorities come up.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think that's another thing, is lesbians do a good job of prioritizing their partners and whatever that need is. Like when it's sex, it's sex. When it's work, it's work. When it's sleep, it's sleep. It's like, I think if you're a good lesbian, if you're a good partner, but if you're a good lesbian partner, you're really tuned in with each other and what you both need. I think that's where that problem comes, though, if the communication isn't happening and you start to assume that you both aren't wanting to hook up, then it can. Yeah, but communication obviously is just important for every relationship.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
a great take.
Lesbian bed death, you're so right. It is designed to scare people away, especially to scare them away from long-term partnerships, I think. This idea.
Yeah, because they don't want us marrying each other. Don't even get me started.
We need to marry men. Did you have fun today at the shoot with tomboyx?
Yes, I did.
Yay.
In my 3 minutes, had a lot of fun. I feel like it was such a great queer team of, some of my go-to hair and makeup artists and a photographer I knew, and I was happy to meet you and got to wear something by my dear friend Willie Norris. So yeah, this was really special. Thank you for having me, Shannon.
Thank you for coming, and thank you to tomboyx for getting us here in our underwear. You're not seeing this again, okay? Unless tomboyx wants to do it.